Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. I'm so glad you're here. Well, what do we got going on? Same old thing, right? We're marching higher. We're pressing up higher. Every time we get down to that 20-day moving average, the algorithms kick in and the buying programs, and it pushes it right back higher. Now, if we can get below the 20-day moving average, then the algorithms will kick in when we bounce up to it, and they will be to sell the market. We first have to get below the 20-day moving average. Now, do I think this is going to happen relatively soon? I actually do. A lot of the moon boys think we're just going to ride this up to the moon. I mean, what are we out? 5 or 6 months already of straight up, straight up, straight up. And this is during the time of 11 rate hikes. We've had 11 rate hikes, right? But yet we still have inflation. Now, why is that? Why is that? Because we're in the middle of a massive commodity boom cycle, massive commodity boom cycle. You can look at oil, you can look at copper, look at gold. Just go to the grocery store and watch those prices go up. Go to the gas station, it's starting to go up again, right? Okay, so inflation is starting to accelerate. 11 rate hikes has not stopped inflation. As a matter of fact, it's going to be picking up speed here, but yet the Fed, they still say they're going to drop three times this year. Oh, I think you'll be lucky to see one drop this year, and eventually the market will figure that out, and that's what will push us down below the 20-day moving average. Now, until then, I will give them credit. It is working. As soon as you get down to the 20-day, put in your buys. Just play the algorithms. The algorithms all are buying at that 20-day. We break below it, they're all going to be selling at that 20-day. So we'll see how that plays out over time. All right, so we had some good news come out. Good news, right? We passed the $1.2 trillion spending bill. $1.2 trillion. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret that only me and you know. Government doesn't have any money. They call this a spending bill. This should be called a debt bill, right? They don't have 1.2 trillion to go out and spend. Look at our debt, 35 trillion, right? 1 trillion a year just in paying the interest. And that 1 trillion is going to turn into 2 trillion within the next year or two. So 2 trillion, and then they're going to pass these spending bills. Now, you can't get mad at the government. I mean, once they started QE, there's no way they can stop, right? There's no way they can stop. It's like once someone becomes a liar, they continue to lie, and then everybody's shocked when they lie, right? I'd be shocked if the government ever told us the truth. I'd be shocked if they stopped spending. So what we know is that the government is going to continue to spend and spend and spend, right? I mean, it's like those Instagram poses, right? Where the guy's standing in front of his Lamborghini in front of the big house. You don't know if he's got any money. He's called Big Hat, No Cattle. Big hat, no cattle. That's what he's got. He's got a lot of debt. Well, our government, big hat, no cattle. Look, we're sending money all around the world, right? All these other places we send the money to. We don't spend it here where it's needed. We send it out to the Ukraine. We support them, right? We support these other countries, but yet we can't support ourselves. We protect their borders. We can't protect our borders. So it'd be shocking to me if the government ever stops spending. They never will. Never will. Impossible. They have to run this out until we go broke. And this printing game is getting close to the end. Getting close to the end. You can only do it for so long before something really, really bad happens. Now they'll tell you we're not in a recession. They'll tell you we're not at war. We just had $4 trillion a year in debt every year. And that's going to double that. Pretty soon that'll be $8 trillion a year. You see, that's what they're going to do. But we got this new spending bill. I got carried away there anyways. But, you know, really, you cannot spend your way to prosperity. It's like, hey, what if you did that as a household? Hey, we got $100,000 on our credit card. Let's go out and spend our way to prosperity. That's going to work, right? No, it's going to put you in the poorhouse. You're going to lose that house soon. I want to talk a little bit about that, you see, but we're still flat broke. Most Americans are flat broke, and we see this by the defaults in the credit cards. Credit cards that are at a record high. But what else is at a record high? Interest rates on credit cards record high. So credit cards record high because you got desperate people that are willing to spend 23% interest. Willing to spend that. You wouldn't borrow on your credit card if you had money. Now, the delinquencies are also at a record high on credit cards. And this is a problem. Okay, so we got in the real estate market, the notice of defaults rapidly rising. In many areas, they've doubled and tripled just in the last 3 months. Doubled and tripled just in the last 3 months. Why? Because banks are starting to take this a little more seriously. They're going to file a notice of default as soon as you stop paying. They're going to take the houses back. And this is going to create more inventory onto the marketplace. We're already seeing more inventory come onto the marketplace in the form of new listings. Now, here's something interesting. We're also seeing the most price reductions. Now, us real estate brokers, of course, we got to say price improvement because it's not a reduction. It is an improvement. But we're seeing more price reductions, price improvements, if you will, the most we've seen in the last 10 years. Now, if this thing's so great, if everything's booming, if everything's doing so well, why do people have to reduce their listing price? Well, because the houses aren't getting sold. Now, if you wait till July, they're really not going to be getting sold because we're going to do away with all those buyer brokers, right? We're going to get rid of them. Get rid of them. We don't need them. But they're not going to be bringing you the offers anymore. So they're really going to be days on market is going to increase and increase and increase. And the inventory is going to start to pile up. Now, you know it's not happening right now. Of course not in your area. It's impossible. Your area, everybody's flush with money. Everybody's got a job. Nobody gets divorced because we all get along so well, right? That's your area. That's not reality. Your area, nobody dies. Everybody's healthy. Everybody goes to the gym. Everybody drinks whatever supplement that keeps them alive forever. So in your area, you're going to be fine. But the rest of the nation, not so much. Even it's not just our nation. The rest of the world is in trouble. The real estate market really levered out here, the biggest bubble ever created, and it's created by the Federal Reserve, keeping interest rates at zero for 14 years. Yes, they're raising them now, and something's already starting to break. What is that? What's breaking? Well, it's the banking system, right? The banks are starting to topple over. Okay, we've lost 10% of them last year, and this year they're going to start to fall again. Mark my words. You will see it. It's coming. Give it time. There's going to be called mergers. Same thing as a bailout. Jamie Dimon's going to buy them all. Okay, that's great, right? But okay, let's get back to the real estate market and what's really going on there. Okay, so people are now at a record pace. They're doing emergency withdrawals from their 401k plans. Now, if everything's so great, why are they doing these emergency withdrawals? Now, when you interview the people and you want to know why they're doing them, it's to save the house. They got to save the house because they notice a default on it. They got to use the emergency withdrawal to give the money to the bank to get caught up on their mortgage so that they don't lose the house. Okay, well, that works for a while, right? What happens when they run out of money in their 401k? Well, then they go to the credit cards. What about then? Then they go buy now, pay later. You see, they're going to run out of money. And the defaults are spiking. The defaults are spiking up. This means inventory is going to be coming on. But right now, people that use the emergency withdrawal of their 401k, 50% of them, it's to save their house. Now, why do they want to save the house? Well, they do have equity in the house, right? Well, can't they just go and tap that equity? No, they cannot. Why? Because they're locked in at 2.8%. 2.8% is where they're locked in. What's the rate going now for if you go get another refi, right? About 7%. You want to go from 2.8 to 7? Nobody does. All right, so you go try for the HELOC loan. The HELOC guy, he tells you, go to the bank, go, I'd like to get a home equity line of credit. Well, your debt to income ratios are over 50%. We can't do it. Debt to income ratios have been stretched so far. They've gotten everyone into this market that can get into it. They're losing buyers. They have no more buyers. The sellers are starting to get a little desperate, as we're going to see as we come to the downside. They're just kind of circling the drain, right? They're circling the drain. But so far, it's staying up. I agree. Right now, you can get out close to the price that Billy Bob sold his at. You see, what's happening is they'll tell you this is the best economy ever, right? And I was just talking with a buddy the other day, and he's saying, Mike, I've never made so much money. This is amazing. I mean, I am making so much money. There's one problem, Mike. I don't have enough money to pay my bills. When I was making half this amount of money, I could pay my bills. But everything has inflated so much, my income has not kept up with it. Yes, you're making more money. I'll agree with that. You can go to a fast food restaurant, get a job for $20 an hour. That's never happened in the U.S. You can do that now in California. So you're making more money, but you can't pay your bills. Can't pay the utility bill. Can't pay your mortgage. Can't pay your credit card off. Have to use the buy now, pay later just to buy groceries. This is the problem. Can't make your car payment. Car payments are in record default area, right? 10,000 repos a day. You want job security, you become the repo man. Repo man right now, a lot of job security. That's going to last for a while. I believe it's going to last for a long time. You see, what's starting to happen is people are starting to go broke. Our government's starting to go broke. Corporations are, well, government's been broke for a long time, but they're starting to realize that they're broke, but they can still do $1 trillion here, $1 trillion there, like it's nothing, right? Like it's nothing. $1 trillion is nothing, but they're really broke, right? Corporations in big trouble. Why are the corporations in trouble? They got that corporate debt down here almost close to 0%, right? That's when they took out the loans. Now where is it? They got to pay 7-8% up here, right? Okay, well that's a problem for them because all their debt's starting to roll over. Well, what happens? You have these things called zombie companies. They don't bring in enough cash flow to pay the debt when it's down here at 0%, but now they have to roll over the debt at 7-8%, and they can't pay that for certain. So, and that's even if they can get the financing. A lot of people can't get the financing. So you're starting to see some of these zombie companies going under. They're starting to go away, close. Stores are starting to close. A lot of store closures out there, right? All the dollar stores starting to wind down. A lot of stores, Macy's closing down the stores, right? Everything's so great there. It's fabulous. It's wonderful. Everybody's got extra money. Look at you. I mean, they can tell you just by the GDP, everything's going up. You know what creates the GDP to go up? You know what that is? That's called inflation. Look at when you got to pay 20% more than you were just 3 years ago for everything. That's just for everything. Food prices, you got to pay about 100% more. But that sends the GDP up, right? That's really good news. Good news. Well, look at that's a problem, right? What else sends up the GDP, right? Well, government spending. They just going to spend another 1.2 trillion. You know what really helps the GDP? If we could get that third war going, right? I mean, we got 2 wars right now, right? If we could get that third one going, I think that'll be China and Taiwan. Okay, let's get that one rolling because that'll really help out our GDP, and that way we'll stay out of the recession, right? Because the GDP keeps going. I got news for you. We're already in a recession. You take out government spending, we're pretty much in a Great Depression already. And that's the direction we're heading. But I understand that, you know, you can't really look at it. People that are shocked at how much the government spends, that's what they do. It's going to increase. It's not going to stop. It's never going to stop. That is what the government does. They spend. What else does the government do? They lie to you. What else does the government? I don't know. I get carried away, but they're going to keep doing that, right? So you got to protect yourself. I don't know exactly how you do that. I mean, a lot of risk in these markets right now, a lot of risk in the stock market. I imagine once we get below that 20-day, we're going to have a big, ugly sell-off. That's just my take. It could be completely wrong. Maybe we go straight to the moon, but I don't see it that way. I see a big, ugly sell-off coming. What do I see in the housing market? Big, ugly price reductions. Price reductions are already here. 10-year record high on those price reductions. prices are starting to come down in most areas. Of course, not in your area, and I get that. Anyways, I got a little carried away. It's a Monday, everybody. Get out there, have a great day, and we'll talk again real soon. But first, give me the thumbs up and punch the subscribe button. Bye-bye now.